Hey guys, it's Paulski here, back with another video. So it's been a little while since I made a video for you guys. I've been super busy in clinic and with study, but I'm back with another video, and I had a client today who was exhibiting a little bit of scapular winging. So I wanted to make a video about that just to show you guys what it is and what you can do about it to improve your shoulder function. It's really important that our shoulders are functioning optimally. So really quick, what is scapular winging? So imagine that these are your shoulder blades. So the person is facing, like I am, towards you. So at the back, I have the shoulder blades. So my thumbs will be touching the spine on the back, and these are the shoulder blades. All scapular winging is usually, the most common type of winging is when the shoulder blade pops off and the inside of the shoulder blade starts coming away from the spine rather than the shoulder blades tracking nicely along the rib cage at the back. So they should be able to protract, retract, upwardly rotate, downwardly rotate. That's what the shoulder blade wants to do. But if we get that scapular winging, we're not going to be able to protract and retract properly, and it'll also interfere with that upward rotation and downward rotation, and also a little bit with depression and elevation of the shoulder blade, because they won't be sitting on the rib cage where they're meant to be. They'll be popping away. So when you look at the person from the back, you might notice they have these like sticking out shoulder blades. They kind of look like little mini angel wings. That's kind of where the name comes from, scapular wing. So that's what it is. Now let's talk about what causes scapular wing. So primarily, when people have scapular winging on the inside, the medial border of the shoulder blades, it's because their serratus anterior is inactive or weak. More likely, it's not activating properly. It's very, very common, especially for people who have weakness through those shoulder muscles from sitting a lot of the time. So we're talking about, they usually have associated weakness in the middle and especially lower traps are not engaging, and the serratus anterior is not engaging or activating either. So it's usually serratus anterior is the one that we can that we target the most when we're trying to improve shoulder function in regards to scapular winging. So now let's talk about serratus anterior, because you know that I like to talk a little bit about the anatomy of muscles before we start getting into exercises, because knowing what the muscle does, where it attaches, where the fibers run, really gives you the best idea of how to target the muscle. So serratus anterior, I'm going to turn side on because it sort of sits along the side of this rib cage. So, okay, you have your shoulder blade. So I can't reach all the way around because I don't have Go-Go Gadget arms, but I can touch the lateral outside border of my shoulder blade. So that's where my shoulder blade is. My serratus anterior actually runs under the shoulder blade and attaches on the inside border, the one closest to the spine. Attaches from there, it runs under the shoulder blade, runs all the way around to these ribs, and it attaches from the first 9 ribs all the way down. So it kind of creates this sawtooth looking muscle where it inserts on these rib cages. So it fans out. The fibers kind of run in a fan out from this medial border of the shoulder blade, and then they attach in this sawtooth kind of configuration along those 9 ribs. So the fibers are running this way primarily in the middle, and they fan out and they fan down. That's where the fibers run. So that's the anatomy. What is the function of the serratus anterior? So the serratus anterior is primarily concerned with protraction of the shoulder blades. So if I turn side on again, we have retraction of the shoulder blades, which is like when I'm pinching a coin or something between my shoulder blades. That's retraction. Re is back, traction, it's stretching it back. So protraction means I'm stretching forward like this. I'm kind of rounding my shoulders forward. So that's protraction. Serratus anterior wants to do protraction. So when it contracts, protraction. When it relaxes, other muscles are engaged, such as the rhomboids, you're getting retraction. These muscles all work together to perform optimal shoulder function. So that is the function of serratus anterior. So now let's talk about, now that we know the anatomy, we know the function, let's talk about an exercise that we can do to wake this awake both of our serratus anterior, because we have one on each side of our rib cage, obviously, 2 shoulders, 2 serratus anterior. We're going to wake those up and activate them a little bit more. So, super easy to do. All you're going to need is a wall. Hopefully you have wallpaper that is as sexy as this. If you don't worry, the exercise will work just as well. So what you're going to do, you're going to find your wall and you're going to put your arms against the wall, and then you're going to walk back until your arms are straight. Then you want to kind of go into a push-up position. So I've got my hands shoulder width apart and they're at chest level. Don't put them too far up. They want to be sort of at chest level, not shoulder level, chest level for a push-up. And you can even rotate your hands in a little bit. So more of my palms are on the inside. My thumbs are fanning out. So now I want to walk my feet away from the wall a little. So my arms are pretty much straight and I'm a little bit of an angle. So I'm like, you can feel pressure with gravity pressing you into the wall. So now you should be able to do like a push-up in this position and feel that you're doing a push-up. So this exercise is sometimes called a push-up plus, but I don't want you to think about too much about that today, because push-up plus is usually done on the ground. Don't get too caught up in the names. It's more about what are we trying to achieve here. Call it a push-up, a wall push-up plus if you want to. I don't really care what we call it. So it's more important to get the function right. So I'm against the wall. I've got my arms straight at chest level, and I've walked my feet back maybe another foot length away from the wall. I'm leaning into the wall. We're really only concerned with protraction, so we don't need to worry about this first part of the push-up. We can keep our arms pretty much straight. And all we're going to do is I'm going to drive my elbows forward into the wall and feel that shoulder blade coming around. So it's going to start creeping around this rib cage towards the front. That's what I want to feel. So my shoulder blades coming forward and around, directly forward and around and along the side of my rib cage. That's protraction. I'm not too worried about it coming up or not, although that is another upward rotation is a function of the serratus anterior, but primarily we're concerned with protraction. So you'll see my shoulders went around, that's protraction. So for this exercise, it's not a mad gains strength exercise. It's really just to activate and wake up those muscles. They're not huge weight bearing muscles. They're really stabilizer muscles. So it's not about adding a lot of resistance. It's really just about getting them active, waking them up, and getting them a little bit of tone back in these muscles so they can support the shoulder optimally. So all I'm concerned with doing is gently pushing my elbows into the wall, getting protraction, and I hold. And just hold for a few seconds and then come back, keeping my arms pretty straight. And hold and come back. And then again, I'm going to push, hold, and come back. So the breathing for this, you know, I'm really big on the breathing. So when we contract, when we go into protraction, we're going to breathe in. So I'm going to breathe in, hold it for a few seconds, and then I'm going to breathe out. I'm going to relax. I'm going to breathe in. I'm going to protract, and then I'm going to breathe out. Relax. One more. I'm going to breathe in. So protract. I'm pushing myself away from the wall, and I'm really feeling the serratus anterior engage. So that's the breathing, but you need to feel this. You need to feel the shoulder blade wrapping around these ribs. It's coming forward. Sometimes serratus anterior is called the boxer muscle because it's about bringing the whole arm and shoulder, because the shoulder is where the arm starts rotating, across the body, forward and slightly across the body. And you can put your hand on your shoulder blade. You want to feel that shoulder blade moving forward and wrapping around the rib cage. That's how you know you've got serratus anterior activation and you're getting that protraction. If your shoulder blade isn't moving forward and around your rib cage here, if you're not feeling it come around, you're not activating it. You're not doing the exercise correctly. It's less about what you're doing with your head and arms and chest in relation to the wall, and it's all about shoulder blade wrapping around the rib cage and moving forward and around this direction, around this rib cage. That's the primary function of serratus anterior. So sometimes people ask me about how many sets and reps do I do for this exercise. So if you know me, I'm not into sets and I'm not into reps. Really, I'm about going my feeling. I'm about people getting to know their bodies a lot better, breathing into their bodies, listening to their bodies. That's what this channel is all about. So if you want sets and reps, do a few sets throughout the day. Do enough reps so you can feel the muscle activate, but you don't really want to fatigue the muscle. If the muscle starts getting tired, and the muscle's tired when it stops working, like it can't function as well, you don't want to go that far. You just want to wake it up a little bit. When it starts to get like a tiny bit tired, stop there. That's how many reps you do. The more you do this, the more sets and reps you'll be able to do. You don't want to overdo this. Just do maybe a few sets throughout the day. You can do it anywhere that you've got a wall. It's really easy to do. It's more about feeling that activation. And then maybe after a few weeks, you can check in with your partner or your therapist. Just get them to look at your shoulder blades, and are they sitting more flush? Are they more sitting compact, nice against the rib cage at the back? Or are they still popping up? The other a variation or a progression of this exercise is to do the push-up on the ground. I'm not going to do that today. It's exactly the same movement, but I'm just against the ground, so obviously have a lot more resistance, but you still want to make sure that you're not really exercising the chest. It's not about bending your arms and going lower. You're really just concerned with this last part of the movement going into protraction. So it's quite a short movement. You're not covering a lot of distance when you do this movement. So that's how we improve shoulder stability, get rid of scapular winging, and activate our serratus anterior. Cool, so that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed that video. I'll be back real soon with another video. If you have ideas for other videos, just shoot me a message or leave a comment and say, hey, Paul, can you do a video on whatever? And I'll do it. I get most of the ideas for videos from my clients. So today, I just had a client who had a bit of scapular winging, so I went through this one with her. So I thought I'd make a video about it so you guys can benefit from it as well. Cool, so that's all for today. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget, listen to your body and breathe.